Even in ancient times, people have always believed in the afterlife and the rebirth of the soul. But as a result of the development of society, various religions began to appear, which interpreted the theme of the immortality of the soul in their own way, without denying the very fact of this phenomenon. Over time, the question arose of providing visual evidence of human reincarnation and interpreting them from a scientific point of view. We would like to warn you right away that you can have your own opinion on this topic. You may not like these arguments, and you certainly have every right to defend your own. God does not insist that we believe in Him, just as the air does not insist that we breathe it. And now about everything in order. For the entire existence of mankind, one of the most interesting questions was the immortality of the soul. In each of us there is a particle of the Creator, which we call the soul. On Earth, anything can serve as its container, from man-made objects to humans. And if the material component has its own term, then the soul is considered to be immortal and eternally existing. But is this really the case? The soul is an aspect of the higher self that receives material embodiment, and the only purpose for which we experience countless incarnations is to extract new, unique life experiences. As you can imagine, the higher self has millions of aspects, each of which solves certain tasks that are assigned only to him. And we all represent a unique ecosystem with a single repository of knowledge accumulated over our entire lives. Every soul has an age. Someone is only at the beginning of their journey and is experiencing their first reincarnation. Others are already very experienced and mature souls who have hundreds of lives lived and a huge baggage of accumulated experience. The older the soul, the further it has progressed in its self-development and the higher the stage of its spiritual growth. And here we have come close to the most important issue. And is the soul immortal, or is it waiting for the final summing up at some point? Let it take billions of years, but still. Is non-existence waiting for us, or is our spiritual personality eternal and unchangeable? The truth is that everything really has an end, and the soul is no exception. This can cause surprise and disappointment, but we are not talking about decay, because a particle of the Creator simply cannot go into oblivion. This only means that at some point the soul reaches such a level of self-development that it ceases to be just an aspect of the higher self, and it itself becomes a source. And this is a logical evolution that is embedded in our program and sewn into the code of the universe. Yes, to some extent this is the end, because the soul passes into another form, but in fact this is only the beginning of a new stage in our endless life. You can compare this process with the metamorphosis that a caterpillar goes through. At some point, having reached the necessary development, each caterpillar puts on a cocoon and at that moment ceases to exist in this form. But after a while, a transformation takes place, revealing a beautiful butterfly to the world. Is this the end of the caterpillar's existence? Definitely. But can it be called death? Of course not. This is just a transition from one form to another in accordance with the laws within which this insect exists. And every soul is waiting for such an amazing stage, when we complete an exciting journey full of amazing discoveries, but only to start a new one, continuing the endless cycle of energy in the universe. If the process of the origin of life is described physically, then we must take into account the following logic of reasoning. The primary and main components of the universe, which includes our galaxy as a separate cosmic formation, are energy and matter. Although energy and matter cannot exist separately, this has not yet been proven, but they are separate substances. Substance is energy or matter in the unity of all forms of their movement or manifestation. Substances are strongly connected with each other, and the manifestation of one of them, energy or matter, is impossible without the presence of the other. Each substance can have two forms of its existence. For energy, the forms of existence are power and information. Matter has matter and a field. Since substances are inextricably linked, with their constant interaction they always strive to transform themselves through various combinations of all the forms they have, but all transformations are only mutual. For example, in order to transform matter from matter into a field or vice versa, energy is required. But on the other hand, in order to have energy, the obligatory presence of matter in the form of one of its forms is required. The laws of manifestation, existence and interaction of two substances, energy and matter in the universe and our galaxy are the same everywhere at any point in the space of the universe and the galaxy. Since we need to establish the fact of the origin of living beings in the form of plants, animals and humans from matter consisting of matter and field, it is necessary to clarify what substance and field are. We think of matter as a collection of various elements of matter, elementary particles, atoms, molecules and their formations. A field is a special form of matter characterized only by its inherent properties, the specificity of which is explained by the fact that the totality of the field includes elementary particles and everything smaller than them, for example, leptons, particles lighter in physical terms than the main carriers of fields, photons. But despite the fact that matter and field are different forms of matter, they have a number of identical properties. For example, the light we see propagating in space is an electromagnetic field, which can be represented as a flying stream of discrete particles, photons, having two forms of matter in the flying stream at the same time, a substance in the form of a particle and a field in the form of a wave. However, the process of mutual transformations of energy and matter requires setting the beginning of these transformations. In other words, which of the two substances begins the transformation first? Here it can be argued that energy is the first to begin the transformation in the universe and our galaxy. It is with its manifestation that all physical processes begin. What has been proven by physicists today should be the basis of reasoning. Energy, transforming and expending itself, thereby forms elementary particles, then turns them into atoms and molecules, then into matter. How? Simple and ingenious, like everything in this nature. Energy, giving itself to elementary particles, thereby forms a stream of flying particles, a field that carries energy. Elementary particles, in turn, interacting with each other and giving energy to each other, are grouped into atoms. Those into molecules, large compounds of molecules, into a substance possessing what is called mass, but also energy obtained from elementary particles, atoms and molecules. In this process, nothing disappears anywhere, as Albert Einstein noted, proving that the energy and mass of matter are equivalent. Namely, the property called mass is simply concentrated energy. Can the law of conservation of energy be a confirmation that a person's energy does not go away even after his death, that it is preserved and is called a soul? If we think from the point of view of the law of conservation of energy, then everything is eternal, both the soul and any other types of energy. Material bodies are made up of elements that are also energy, but unlike the soul, bodies are constantly changing. And after the death of the body, its disintegration into many elements begins, which will then be used to create a new body. It's like the water cycle in nature. Water turns into steam when heated, and ice when cooled. The very substance of water does not disappear, but the form of its existence changes. Similarly, all material elements, they are eternal, but they are constantly changing externally. Therefore, the soul is eternal and base. However, in our world it is difficult to see it because it is the size of an atom. But in the spiritual world, souls live in eternal spiritual bodies that never change. All the primary elements exist forever, but the material elements are constantly transformed and no one recognizes them as a poet. And the spiritual elements are eternal and unchangeable. The first law of the universe says that the universe consists of one essence. Man and everything around him is pure energy. We are an integral part of the energy field, a single whole. There is an exchange between energies. Nothing can appear by chance or disappear. Everything in the world has its price. Before you receive it, you must give it away, because this is a single integral process of energy transformation. Matter is perceived by the senses as solid objects that are not connected to each other. At a more subtle level, matter decomposes into small particles and eventually turns out to be pure energy. Energy differs from each other in quality, density and speed of manifestation. It consists of elements: air, fire, earth, water. The elements, in turn, consist of elements: wind, heat, humidity, dryness, cold. Everything that a person feels, including himself, has different constitutions of types of energy. All these are types of different energy states: solid, liquid, gaseous, ethereal. Add the magnification of a laboratory microscope to physical vision and we will see only the molecules that make up objects. Each energy entity has a different oscillation rate. As a result, there are different qualities, in density and in shape, in time and space, but we still interact and influence each other. The laws of the universe are the same for everyone. Energy is also one, but with different poles: male-female, cold-heat, wind-humidity, heat-dryness, negativity and positivity, darkness and light, top-bottom, left-right and the like. Man exists simultaneously in three states: physical solid, spiritual gaseous and spiritual etheric. Aggression against a minor event occurring in life is equal to aggression against the universe. At the opposite end of aggression, there is peacefulness. Self-hatred is equal to hatred of God. The energy of hatred is one with deification. The condemnation of nature is equal to the condemnation of the unity of life. Condemnation is one with forgiveness and acceptance. Love and fear are one. Good and evil are one. Our strength is in the present moment because right now we can control energy and set any algorithm for its manifestation. A person creates energy and controls it, his thoughts and emotions. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions in the present moment paint a picture of tomorrow, and the past reality does not disappear. it becomes the past, which makes up our experience.